Mohamed Salah came out. Now, he did an interview with Sky in the week and he was asked about his contract situation, and he basically said, as far as I'm aware, this is my last season, so I'm going to treat it as such. I've not had conversations. I'm not thinking about the future. I don't want to think about the future. I'm just going to focus on what's in front of me. And then basically he walked out post-match live on Sky and effectively said it, but did it in a much more blunt, as you know, this is my last season. And I think a lot of people hadn't seen or heard that interview earlier on, so this definitely caught a lot of people by surprise. Do you think that this was a slight loss in translation kind of moment, presuming everyone knows what he said already? Or is this him slapping it out on the table and letting Liverpool know his position, maybe trying to get the fans on side? Or is it just Mo Salah just literally just explaining how he feels about his life in football at the moment?
Yeah, probably the latter. It felt like he was just telling it how it is, just very open, very honest, much in the style of Arne Slot in a way. I think it was quite startling, really, the fact that he said that nobody had spoken to him about it. That is the bit that I can't come to terms with, to be honest with you. If conversations were happening behind the scenes and they hadn't come to a resolution, they hadn't come to an agreement, whether it be on terms or years or whatever, then that'd be fine. But to not start a dialogue and to not open that conversation feels wild. And that's the bit I really can't work out. But yeah, I do think it was just him being very, very honest. Maybe honest to a fault. Because, as you say there, it does raise lots of questions around Liverpool and what Liverpool's approach to this is. Are Liverpool just happy to let him walk away for free? But I will also say it was a little bit of... It felt as though he was almost saying to Liverpool, come on, let's talk at least. Because to not at least have the conversation and say we do or don't want you to stick around at this point, because we're 3-4 months away from him being able to speak to anybody, anybody he likes. This surely should have happened a long time ago. And to go this far and to actually start the new season, the potentially final season, without at least saying, "Are you staying, mate? Are you going to stick around?" I can't work that out at all. So yeah,
Chloe.
I think he put it on the toes of Liverpool, personally. I think he put it out that this isn't my doing, by the way, guys. I'm just, it's not my choice. This isn't my decision. It comes from the club. And I think he's dropped 3 games of being, man of the match potentially in all 3. And then he's gone, you need to pay me exactly what I want. And I totally agree with him. Liverpool need to give him whatever he wants right now. They need to give him, Virgil and Trent, for all I care, whatever they want, because you cannot lose those 3 players. They are the entire foundation and core of this side. Virg can still play that for the next several years. Mo Salah, he is not at the level where at the end of the season he just gets off to Saudi. If he went to Saudi at the end of this season, I'd think he was ludicrous. I think he's got too much competitive nature in him to do that. So he's going to be playing against you probably in Europe, and you do not want that. And as for Trent, I just find it ridiculous that we've not even
we don't know where we're at with them.
But how are we not nowhere near getting it done is my problem.
I think with at the risk of this running amok and running wild, because I think Trent's a different case. Now at the moment they're the same because he hasn't been offered a new contract, but just for the sake of this, we'll stick to the Salah stuff, because I just do think it's an interesting talking point in and of itself, because Van Dijk's been asked about stuff and he's nowhere near blown up in the same sort of way, and similar with Trent. I didn't get the sense from Salah, the way he was talking, as though he was politicking in the way he came out. He came out happy, breezy, relaxed. It didn't look like he had a point to make. But it is noticeable that he's done more media stuff this season. So I don't know whether this goes hand in hand and he's just putting himself out there a bit more, Chris. But I don't know, what was your feeling on his motivations?
On his motivations, it kind of felt a little bit like Steven Gerrard after we left the European Cup, to be honest. You gotta sign me up, boys. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it is. And as Chloe said there, it's those sort of three games that he sort of dropped on you. You think, well, kind of now's the time to get paid, isn't it? Because I'm still the number 1 player in the team now. I don't think there was anything sinister in it, and I really hope that Liverpool haven't continued to drop a bollock here, because the first bollock that they dropped was not tying this up over a year and a half ago. Or maybe before any time before Jurgen tells them, And listen, I'd have been a twat and done it before the news was broken to the team as well. I'd have tied him up then. Like, knowing that Jurgen's going before he knows that Jurgen's going is the absolute spot. I'd have done that. I'd be like rushing that stuff through. But equally you do not know what's going to happen in next year, and then you'd have got an injury, and then you'd be panicking about, is he going to come back the same players?
If we'd signed him down to a new contract in January, and then he had that end of the season,
you're panicking.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for me, and this is how I think Liverpool are doing it, and I hope that Liverpool are doing it, is where they've come in. Richard Hughes has got a big job on his hands. Arne Slot's got a big job on his hands, and they've got a transfer window to manage. I imagine that they will have earmarked this international break after the transfer window shuts down to start those contract negotiations, because exactly like Dan says there, you've got 4 months. And I'm like you, I'm not worried that he's going to Saudi Arabia.
No.
I'm worried that he's going to another top team in Europe and will continue there for a couple of years. Saudi Arabia is long gone for me. Like, this is a guy who can play for anybody at any point. Like, Bayern Munich will be in for him, almost guaranteed on January the 1st. Real Madrid will be in for him, because why not? You know, the Barcelonas of this world, they'll all be there if they've got the money or not. Chelsea will definitely be in for him.
Peak of his powers.
Chris has started to touch upon it though, Dan. Why do you think Liverpool haven't opened negotiations? And just to throw a little bit of it, because why does he look so happy?
Yeah, I think he's happy to address that one. I think he's happy because he is genuinely enjoying the football that we're playing now under Arne Slot. I think this Arne Slot arrival has reinvigorated something in him. I think he's enjoying the role he's playing. It's slightly altered. It's a new version of Mohamed Salah that we're seeing. He's not the Mohamed Salah that will take on 3 or 4 players. He probably still has got the capabilities to do it and then score a wonder goal. He's just this creative in force now. He's just remarkable. So that's probably why that is. I think he's actually enjoying the challenge of this new Liverpool as well, because he wants to be at the forefront, he wants to be the figurehead of that and what that means. So that, but in terms of the contract stuff and why Liverpool, that's, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Because Chris may be right in terms of the actual sitting down and thrashing out negotiations could well happen in his international break. But the way Mo Salah said it yesterday was almost implying that nobody said anything to him.
That's mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
That
doesn't make any sense.
It is. Just push something over and go, what's the figure, mate?
Yeah. Or like,
at any point.
Or you get the dinner lady to hand a little handwritten note with a question mark on it.
Mo, by the way, we know we're going to speak in this next break. Don't worry about it. We're all going to sit down together, have a grown-up conversation, see where we're all at, because we don't know how the land lies for anyone right now. My only explanation, and it's not one I want to even consider, is the fact that Liverpool aren't going to offer him a new deal. Yeah. That's the only way, and I don't understand it, because I said it a moment ago, he's at the very peak of his powers. He is absolutely phenomenal right now. But Liverpool clearly, for whatever reason, whether it be the age, the money that's involved, they clearly are not in a position right now whereby they're willing to make him the highest paid player once again.
I don't think it'd be good for PR at all. You know, you've brought Richard Hughes in, and Slot has nothing to do with this, so I don't believe he does. But it is not good PR for you to bring in Michael Edwards back, Richard Hughes, and then for you to lose however many of your 3 biggest players. Ali's in there as well.
Just Mo.
But for this conversation, just Mo, that is not a good look for you, because Chiesa's not your replacement. We know that. Chiesa came into.
I'd agree.
I'm just saying. I don't think we know that, but I think we're happy with him not to be at the moment.
Yes, but all you've done right now is, if you let Salah go by not bringing his replacement in, and I do not think Chiesa's his replacement. I think he's there to help the squad, and he's very much good enough to do that. And look, he might get a run in the team elsewhere, but you're not displacing Mo Salah, and therefore I can't see you being the next. Like that's my only point. But all you're doing right now, if you don't sign Salah to a new contract, you've just told the rest of the world, right, well, we're going to be in for a right winger at the end of this season, lads. So everyone's just going to put 30 mil onto every right winger that's in the world because Liverpool are after one. I genuinely cannot understand it. I think he's so happy because he just holds the cards. He holds all. I think he'd love to stay at Liverpool. Equally, he can go to Saudi and go and get all the money in the world. But he's also sat there thinking, actually, you know what? Mbappe, Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo winning I could go over there. Bayern Munich, I could go and be there. Liverpool Football Club need me. They absolutely need me, and it goes hand in hand. I think he's needed us throughout his career.
Is this one of the reasons why Liverpool maybe then haven't reached out to him? Because if Mo Salah and Mo Salah's agent have this stance that Liverpool, it's all right because we've got all the cards, that doesn't give Liverpool a particularly favourable hand when it comes to negotiating. And Liverpool, because let me put this another way. Michael Edwards has come back to oversee the operations, and he's brought a new sporting director and there's a new manager in, and Julian Ward's back in. Like the old band are all back together. The one that we all said, well, these are the guys who know what they're doing. So why? So if do we not trust that they know what they're doing in this regard?
I trust that they've come to a decision in terms of that decision is not giving Mo Salah a new contract. That's right, because you're right, my trust is so strong in those people that the thinking is so joined up. I don't believe they haven't made the decision on this. I don't believe they're still scrambling around going, what do we do with Salah? I think they have made that decision. So to hear Mo Salah come out and say that nobody's spoken to him about it, I just put those two things together and go, well, he's not staying then.
Yeah.
That's genuinely where I'm at. And again, it's like, I would give Mo Salah a new contract because I look at him and go, I just don't see how there's likely to be a drop-off in the next 2 years. Give him, I don't, would Salah want a 2-year contract? I've got no idea. Maybe he wants a 3 or a 4-year contract and that might change. I don't know. I've got no idea. And I don't think Liverpool know if they've not spoken to him either, by the way. I would give it to him and I would give Van Dijk because I just think there's longevity there. But we were having this conversation last night, Chris. I also didn't think that Sadio Mane would be finished long before Salah.
Yeah.
I didn't expect Fabinho to drop off a cliff quite as dramatically as he did in the same regard. And every single player that we've let go has gone on to basically out to pasture when we've let them go. So there's that. And we've kept these longer. It's not like we've let them all go at the same time. We have staggered it out and we've kept only the best, and the ones with the most longevity are still at the football club. But at some point, you're going to have to let them go.
Yeah, but the difference with Salah is, I think there's always going to be resale value with Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
That's the big difference. Yeah. Because I don't think the football really matters too much to them.
Yeah.
Poster boy market,
exactly. And that's the difference. Whereas so
there's value to sign him regardless.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You can, as he's fallen off the cliff, you can literally push him that way.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Also, Salah can take you to challenge for the title. Without Salah, you ain't getting anywhere near that title. You cannot replace his goals. I refuse to believe you can spread those goals.
Of course you can. That's stupid.
I don't think you can.
Every football club moves on from great football.
You can,
you're not going to replace them like for like.
You're not going to replace them right now.
Well, we're not right now because we know that now. You are right in that. But I think next season you potentially could. You might have to do it a different way, but there's ways in which to do it. So I'm not sure that's the case. I just think it feels to me, as we sit here right now, with the knowledge that we have at our disposal, it feels to me that Liverpool and the powers that be have come to a decision not to offer him a new deal because the finances are too much. The stuff you just said there about the age and potentially coming towards the back end of his career and his twilight, that's where we're at. And with everything he said yesterday, that is the conclusion I come to. Liverpool will not be offering Mohamed Salah a new contract. I don't like it. I don't want it. But that is the only way this makes any sense.
Yeah, but I think, like I've said this all summer long, I think you do have to consider the fact that Mo ain't going to sign a new contract until he's worked with the manager. Why would he tie himself down? If you wanted him to sign a contract for 3 years, why would you do that when he's not done training, when he's not played in the team? You know what I mean? He's been at... when did he come back? 6 weeks ago?
Yeah, I know.
It's hardly, enough time for him to judge.
It's a bit long, but he's had as long as anyone, hasn't he? But I do think it's an intelligent point, but I think it also, in addition to that, the manager might want to look at him and I know it sounds like a fucking no-brainer. Why wouldn't you want Mohamed Salah? But there is going to come a time in a year or two or somewhere down the line where he's on 350 or more grand a week, and that might be worth 2 more wingers to you who are a similar level, who Slot can just churn through on those sides of the pitch, and that might be the conversation. He might be like, "Do you want him, mate? Do you want 2 more years of Salah?" And that again, it sounds stupid because we'd all go, "Yeah, give me 2 more years of Salah, no questions asked." But again, just trying to work out why these things might be. Slot will be in these conversations without a shadow of a doubt. The thing for me is this is a mess left for the current incumbent in the job. This is a mess. Chris is right. The contract should have been sorted years before, and we've been fucking this up for 3 years now, 4 years, where brilliant footballers, we're going to have to stop giving these heroic send-offs to footballers. It's mental that we do it. I love it. I love that we get the great to the game, give them the send-offs they deserve. But big football clubs don't do that. They sell players for really good money and then they go and invest it and they carry on.
Well, that was us.
This nostalgia fest that we have at the end of every season has got to be cut off at some point. We've got to get back to being ruthless, and this might be the start of it.
I do think there is definitely something in, obviously, the Michael Edwards thing where he's of this belief that these players do drop off. And listen, I guess 99 times out of 100, he's probably absolutely spot on. But also, if there was 1 in 100 that you're backing, it's Mo. We've seen Thiago Silva as a centre-back example who can play at the top level until they're near 40. It looks to me like Virgil van Dijk could do the same. Mo Salah looks like he's of their age, by the way, as well, where sports science has been here throughout his entire career.
Yeah.
That's another thing, isn't it? You go, well, actually, they drop off at 30. Yeah, but they were alehouses in the teens, like, you know what I mean?
He's not Brazilian, who all drop off when they're 30, apart from Thiago Silva.
To me, right now, Mo Salah is irreplaceable. He's always been that for me. And I get at one point he won't be that, but you cannot in this form. And maybe give him a couple of weeks to let us all come to that decision. But at the end of the day, the problem you've got is the longer you wait to offer him a contract, the more, Mo might just feel like, okay, I can move on to the next thing. And I know you say he can replace his goals by spreading them across the front three and things, but in terms of him, I just think he is irreplaceable.
I would argue, and just to fan it out a little bit more, I'd say Virgil's more indispensable than Salah in his own way, only because when you add all the factors in, at some point Virgil's going to drop off, but he's not going to drop off as your top wage earner. He's going to be close. He'll be in that sort of, he's going to be in the top 2 or 3. Trent will probably go above him if he gets another contract, which will knock him down a little bit more. Salah, I lived through Gerrard, and I watched Steven Gerrard, our most legendary player, our most influential footballer, and our biggest wage earner, go from being essential, being a guy who had to be on the pitch every week or you couldn't win, to being a guy who was on the substitutes bench and having
other crap midfielders were running past them.
Yeah, exactly. And having, had lads doing his running for him because it was going. He was a fading power and he wasn't happy with it and he really struggled. And I think Liverpool, and look, Michael Edwards was at the football club when that happened, and they'll be keen to avoid those kind of situations. So it's, again, our understanding of it seems stupid to let either of them or both of them walk out because there's so much value there, actually just on the pitch. More than, like, Salah's got the resale value. I'm not sure about Van Dijk's resale value. Someone would buy him for a good amount of money.
20 years in Italy.
Yeah. But again, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do, because I'm not totally, I know what I'd do. Yeah. They both all three of them are getting new contracts. So I just don't see the point, because Chloe is right. Right now, there isn't necessarily someone out there who you're saying, that's it. Is Konate the heir apparent to him? It hasn't quite worked out. Quan's still very young. You're going to have to go into the market and they might not be good. We've had loads of centre-halves. We thought Sammy Hippie was the best centre-half we'd probably had in a generation. In hindsight, you look back, he was really, really good. But when you look at what we were comparing him to at Man United, they had the absolute cream of the crop, across that defensive line. So when you've got something great, you should keep hold of it as long as possible, but everything comes to an end at some point. And just on the last, I think the Chiesa stuff, I agree. I don't think Chiesa is Salah's replacement, but you have made buying Salah's replacement, I think, a lot easier by owning Federico Chiesa, because you own a 27-year-old lad who's in the prime of his career, who's still got years at the top. You're not going in, I've got no Salah, I've got a big empty space in my squad to fill.
Ben Doak there, is it?
Yeah, exactly. You've actually negotiated yourself, you very cannily sort that out. Stupid example of it, but when we got we needed a centre-half, we just got Ben Davies, so that when we were going out in negotiations, it wasn't Liverpool are desperate for a centre-half. We've got this lad here. They didn't need to know he was a hologram. No one else we went into negotiations with knew that Ben Davies was a human hologram, but it helped to strengthen the position. Anyway, it's fucking bullshit. Just give Mo Salah a contract.
Give all three of them a contract, please.
Yes, absolutely. All three, please.